I'm 73 now, and I'm going to share something with you that might shake you up a bit. A lot of what you've been taught about growing older just isn't true.
I'm 73 now, and I'm going to share something with you that might shake you up a bit. A lot of what you've been taught about growing older just isn't true. And the tough part is, the folks who ought to be straight with you, like your mom and dad, your school teachers, or even the world around you, they're either keeping it from you on purpose, or they haven't figured it out themselves. For the first half of my life, about 50 years, I bought into the same misconceptions you're likely holding on to right this minute. I figured I had everything sorted out. I had a solid job, a nice home, and people at work looked up to me. But when I hit 52, an event flipped my whole world upside down. What I've come to understand in the 21 years after that has totally reshaped how I view living, dying, and all the stuff that happens in the middle. Before I dive into what went down, though, I want you to get this. I'm not putting this out there to show off or act like some wise old sage. The real reason is that my days are numbered, and there are lessons you need to hear while you still can. Not to help me out, but to save you some pain. Back at 52, I went through what the medical folks label a heart episode. That's their polite term for when your ticker decides to turn against you. I was sitting in a work meeting going over numbers for the next quarter, when out of nowhere, everything around me began to whirl. The next memory I have is opening my eyes in a hospital room, hooked up to machines, with my wife sitting nearby, tears streaming down her face. The doc told me I'd dodged a bullet, called it good fortune. I'd just stared death right in the eye, and they were labeling it as luck. But looking back, they weren't wrong. Because while I was stuck in that bed, with nothing but time to reflect, a scary truth hit me hard. I'd been coasting through my days on automatic pilot. I wasn't truly living. I was just ticking off tasks, fulfilling what others expected of me. And here's the thought that still chills me. If my heart had given out for good that day, what would my mark on the world have been? A comfortable house? Some savings for later? A list of accomplishments that fade from memory in a handful of years? Let me point out the biggest falsehood you might be feeding yourself today. There's plenty of time. I'll get to that down the road. I watch folks in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s, and they're all repeating the same lines. Once I earn a bit more cash, that's when happiness kicks in. After I land that better position at work, I'll finally unwind. When the children are independent, that's my cue to see the world. Once I hit retirement, I'll chase what really lights me up. Here's a shortcut to spare you decades of looking back with sorrow. That perfect moment never arrives. Why? The finish line just keeps shifting further away. You snag the job upgrade, and suddenly you're eyeing the one above it. Your paycheck grows, but so does your need for an even bigger one. You're forever pursuing something that's always one step ahead, and before you realize it, you're pushing 70, scratching your head about where all those years vanished. I fell into that trap myself. I dedicated 3 decades to scaling a career ladder, only to reach the summit and see it was propped up against the wrong building entirely. You can't just shimmy back down and begin fresh. Life doesn't offer rewinds like that. And here's a secret nobody shares when you're starting out. Chasing success as your main aim is a lousy idea. I say this having checked off every box I aimed for. I became a key player in my company. I owned a dream home. My coworkers held me in high regard. But guess what? It didn't add up to much. You hit your target, and for maybe a couple of days, you're on cloud 9. Then the buzz wears off, and you're right back where you started, hunting for the next bigger win, more approval from others. It's like running in place on a treadmill. A buddy of mine passed away 3 years back at 68. He put in grueling 70-hour weeks for decades, built a business worth millions, but he never carved out time for a proper break. Always promised himself he'd ease up the following year. That year rolled around, and a stroke took him. At the service, his boy stood up and said, "Dad built an impressive life, but I hardly got to know him." Is that the kind of memory you want people to have of you? The things that weigh on you later aren't the missteps you made. It's the chances you let slip by without even trying. I don't lose sleep over deals that went south. Those are forgettable. What gnaws at me? That journey to Japan I dreamed of but skipped because work was too demanding. The bond with my brother that I allowed to fade away. The story I wanted to put on paper but never began. The evenings I missed with my children because I stayed late at the office. These are the ones that linger. The paths you ignored, the affections you held back, the leaps you avoided out of fear. The folks closest to your heart, your family, your brothers and sisters, your true friends. You assume you'll have endless days together, but that's not how it works. Eventually, those days end. My dad left us when I was 45. Our connection was tricky, and I was forever too swamped to mend it. I kept convincing myself we'd sort it out once my schedule lightened up. That opportunity never came. A sudden heart failure, and he was gone in no time. My deepest sorrow, all those weekends I didn't pick up the phone, the visits I skipped because exhaustion won out, the small instances I brushed aside. There aren't infinite tomorrows. Following my close call with my heart, I turned things around. I dialed back my hours at the job. I began turning down commitments that didn't spark anything in me. I started embracing the dreams I'd shelved for years. Over these past 21 years, I've gained more wisdom about existence than in all the time before. The essentials are straightforward, almost too basic. Cherishing moments with those you care about. Doing tasks that feel worthwhile to you personally. Valuing adventures over possessions. Building lasting recollections. Staying in the here and now. I get it, it might come off as cliché. Back when I was younger, I'd have dismissed it with a scoff. Yeah, right, but I've got expenses piling up. And sure, that's real. I'm not advising you to ditch your livelihood. What I mean is, don't trade away the vital stuff for the trivial. Here's a tough one I want you to ponder seriously. If your time ended tomorrow, would you look back and feel content with how you've spent it? Not about whether others would praise your accomplishments or if you stacked up enough wins. Just you. Would it feel right? If it's a no, then what's holding you back? What in your routine is so crucial that you're betting your one shot at life on it? At 73, I've been fortunate with my well-being since that scare. But each dawn, I remind myself that every breath is a gift. Truth is, we're all living on extra time, in a way. Most younger folks don't grasp that yet. They feel untouchable, like eternity is theirs. It's not. I've got 3 grandkids, and when I watch them, I spot the same traps that snag so many at their age. They're wound up tight, full of worries, pursuing goals that won't bring real joy. They're repeating my old errors. I do my best to guide them, passing on these insights. But honestly, it doesn't stick. Not that they're not good-hearted. It's just they're caught up in the chaos of the moment. They can't spot the bigger picture from inside it. They believe their path is one of a kind, that the timeless advice doesn't fit. That's the drive behind this message. Perhaps, if it reaches enough years, it'll click for somebody. One person might shift gears and dodge the heartaches that shadow folks like me daily. Each day brings you nearer to the end. Nobody enjoys dwelling on it, but your time isn't endless. The same goes for those you hold dear. Your folks, if they're around, are aging right along. Sooner than you'd guess. They might not be. Your buddies, your partner, your little ones. None of these ties are permanent. So what's your plan? Keep delaying that chat? Push back that getaway again? Convince yourself you'll carve out space eventually? Or will you snap out of it today and act like every minute counts? Because it does. If I had a chance to sit down with the guy I was at 30, this is what I'd lay out. Quit bending over backward for people who don't count. Don't wreck your body chasing job titles. Stop shoving happiness to the back burner. Quit holding out for someone else's okay to chase your dreams. Make those calls to your parents a habit. Book the adventures you've been daydreaming about. Tackle the stuff that frightens you. Learn to decline the duties that suck the life out of you. Open up to the moments that recharge your soul. And above all, begin today. Not in a year. Not once this task wraps up. Not when your bank account looks better or your calendar clears. Right this second. I can guarantee the ideal setup won't magically appear. Life stays chaotic, tangled with excuses to delay. But if you keep stalling, you'll blink and see you've postponed your whole existence. I'm 73. With some luck, I've got another decade or 15 ahead. Maybe stretched to 20, if fortune smiles. Likely shorter, and I'm at peace with it. Why? These recent 21 years have been the most fulfilling stretch I've known. Not from stacking more wealth, but from choosing to live with purpose. Savoring each day, focusing on the real priorities. I've explored spots I'd long yearned to visit. Strengthened ties with my kids and grandkids. Dove into pastimes I'd ignored. Let go of old resentments, and told people I care about them over and over. I'm more content at 73, with fewer years left, than I ever was at 30, back when I thought time was endless. That's the twist. Once you truly get that time has limits, you begin to embrace life fully. You cut out the waste. You quit delaying what brings you joy. You make the moments count. The decision is yours, starting this instant. Stick to your current path, hunting achievements, sidelining fulfillment, promising yourself you'll prioritize later. Or open your eyes. Grasp that the clock is speeding up more than you realize, and the existence you've been holding out for has to kick off immediately. I can't decide for you, but I can warn you. You don't want to reach 73 and regret the roads not taken. Skip the 52 years I spent learning this the hard way. Take my slip-ups as your guide. Choose to live with intention. Put the important things first. Quit waiting for someday. That day is right here. It always has been. If this hits home, pass it along. Drop a note below about what you'll change. Hit follow, as I've got more to say, and my time's short. The seconds are slipping away. How will you use yours?